what offensive bug moves were there back then in Gen 1?
Ooh,
There
let
weren't
me.
too many.
Oh no, there was not many, and there was nothing impressive with it too.
Like, what is she? What's that Butterfree gonna do? String shot? Like, no.
Hi everyone, this is Leo, the Geek Scorpio, wanting to introduce you to a continuation of the podcast episode, some of the real-world pop culture myths, legends, and references we find in Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green. These episodes are going to be longer than normal, so we will be breaking them up to make them easier to listen to. If you have missed us talking about some of your favorite Pokemon, check out a past episode. But for now, we continue discussing Psychic Pokemon and the podcast already in progress. But first, a quick word from the Magical Merch Booth.
Hi everyone, this is Dane and Zombiehands for Gaming Theater Podcast.
For the month of November, we have decided to team up with a great charity called Extra Life.
Extra Life is a fundraising program of Children's Miracle Network hospitals. The Extra Life community fundraises year-round to change kids' health to change the future.
Donations go to children's hospitals to fund critical life-saving treatments and healthcare services, along with innovative research, vital pediatric medical equipment, and child life services.
Each year, both of us have been doing a live stream event to help raise funds for Extra Life. For the month of November, Gaming Theater will donate $5 for each of our Patreon members.
There will also be links in the description for each member of Gaming Theater Presents who's doing a live stream for Extra Life. Dates and times of when these streams will go live will be listed on Gaming Theater Presents Twitter and Facebook feed.
Gaming Theater loves video games, and playing them to help a cause is something that we can all get behind. If you also want to help, you can join us on Twitch, help spread the word about Extra Life, or donate to our Extra Life campaigns.
Thank you for listening to this little part about Extra Life, and now back to the show.
I'm gonna pull up the OG type charts for the Psychic in the first game because it is not like how it is now, and that's not even including the new types that were added.
Yeah, isn't it that I know Fairy is not a type in Red and Blue?
No.
Yep. So Fairy doesn't get introduced till Gen 6, and Gen 2, Steel and Dark are first introduced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have normal, fire, water, electric, grass, ice, fighting, poison, ground, flying, psychic, bug. Rock is a type and ground at the time?
Yep. Yeah, rock and ground are two different types.
Yep.
And then ghost, and then finally dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Which dragon supposedly has no weaknesses to anybody.
Did they have the ice weakness yet, or no?
No.
No, they did.
Oh, they did?
When Dragon was first introduced, the only things, and that was one of the things that made dragons so a combination of both useless
OP?
and there wasn't much of a point to the type being here. Because again, you only had the one line, and the only thing it was weak to was just itself and ice types.
Ah.
Which is why I loved my Articuno.
Yep. Which is also why Dragonite's just like, oh man, what a great dragon type. You must have the greatest dragon move. No, you got the most, like, BS drag move, Dragon Rage. Just like, you got a default of 40 damage. Like, 40 HP damage. You could be a level 100 Dragonite that still only does 40 HP damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was legit the only dragon move in all of Pokemon Red and Blue.
Was Dragon Rage.
And Yellow.
Yeah, yellow. Yeah.
So there weren't actually like too many dragon type moves except Dragon Rage, which just flat rate 40, doesn't scale or anything. So yeah, wonderful if you're like a level 40 Dratini. Not so great if you're, level 100 Dragonite.
Which does not.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely.
Which is like 40 damage.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic in the beginning, but that's because everyone's HP on average is like 50 to 100. So it's just like, yeah, you can beat most Pokemon with just like 1 to 2 shots on with this one move, and that's because everyone just is weak, like you.
Yep. Unless you're battling against other trainers that also have a high HP or high leveled Pokemon, then Dragon Rage is pretty useless. At that point, just Hyper Beam.
Yep.
Hyper Beam forever.
Hyper Beam forever!
Oh yeah, which also made when Dragon Rage was introduced in the anime, completely just like, well, that was There's like so much hype over Dragon Rage. It's like, oh my god, the most horrendous thing Gyarados has ever done. The most worst move he could have never all existed that could destroy anything. Just like, but even like looking at the actual moves, it's like, no, this move is ass. This move is absolute ass. And it's like, you know why this move was actually good? Because you had 5 Gyarados doing it on its 6th time. Technically, doing the math, that's like 200 damage. That will take out most of the Pokemon around you.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that was deadly for you guys because you were 5v1.
So moving away from Saffron City, because I think we've talked a lot about Saffron City at this point.
I was gonna say, I think it's also because like there's just so much that happens in Saffron City that it's just like it's always at one of those cities that we just keep coming back to.
Well, Saffron City has like what? You're fighting gym. You're fighting dojo, not a gym, and then you still have a gym in it. And I forget if this is where. No, this isn't where Snorlax comes in, right?
No, you would have already caught Snorlax by then.
But this is where the Team Rocket headquarters is at, though.
All right.
Good old Silphco.
Which is also what made Saffron City such a big deal, especially when it came out, because because the thing is with Saffron City, it was literally the big city that was just blocked with all the paths, and it's like, okay, why is this city so important? Just like, I mean, we got underground tunnels and all this stuff, and it's like, why are we trying to avoid Saffron City? Well, it's completely taken over by like a freaking mafioso gang. But yeah, but then you also got Sabrina, who is without a doubt one of, you know what? I feel like when it comes to any playthrough through a game, Sabrina is possibly one of the toughest gym leaders in any Pokemon game.
Being a psychic gym leader, yeah. And psychic at this time was kind of OP, wasn't it?
OP is an understatement.
It was literally the game sweeper type.
Oh yeah, actually, so
Yep.
crap, I'm trying to remember the full name of the Pokemon creator. I remember Fujiyama.
Satoshi Tajiri.
Yeah, Satoshi Kadiri.
Okay.
Not to take anything from you.
Oh no, by all means, just like that's what I appreciate, you guys. Yes. So there was actually an entire mess up that happened in the original games, which is also a reason that made the psychic type stupid overpowered. Because they completely screwed up its typings and its matchups against other ones. Because during the time, psychic in this game only had one weakness. And it was
Bug!
It was bug. But what made it even worse is that
Get out there, you little beetle. You got this.
here's the thing. Everyone knows that psychic is also weak against ghost.
Yeah.
Right? Not at the beginning.
Nope.
This is where they messed up. Because originally psychic was immune to ghost.
Yep.
Which also made ghost completely useless because the one type that it was just meant and designed, and we all know, for God's sakes, even Ash knew at the beginning, oh, ghost beats psychic because I'm not a dingus. No, it's just like they messed it up, and psychic is overpowered because they were like, oh shit, oh no, the ghost was supposed to be good against psychic and not completely useless against it.
So was it a programming error, or did they just put it in and forgot about it later?
Oh, it was a program error, and there's a thing in the game in the Saffron Gym that shows that it was gaming error mess up. Because one of the NPCs, when you battle them in the gym, you know how they always have the dialogue or sometimes give you advice on how to beat the gym and their types.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what one of the lines in there was? It's like, don't forget, psychics are weak against ghost and bug. You know what happened in Pokemon Yellow? They changed the dialogue because it was easier than changing it in the game, but then they changed it for all the following games from that point forward. So they took out one piece of dialogue that literally says, oh no, we all messed up, and this dude rats us out. So let's take it out from Pokemon Yellow so no one narcs on us too hard.
That's funny.
So a good strategy against Sabrina, I don't know if this was discussed in the last podcast, but what you do is you get a Caterpie in the Viridian Forest. And then you level it up to level 10, and it becomes, well, a Butterfree. And eventually, I think, forgot what level, but Butterfree does learn Confusion. And I believe at the time, Psychic is also weak against Psychic.
Actually, I got the type chart for that. Here's the whole thing.
correct?
It has so the type chart for it is that it resists fighting and psychic, is weak to bug, and is immune to ghost.
Okay.
That was the original type chart. So it's like, okay, you have one weakness to a type that has as for Pokemon and moves, and the ones that do have a good chance against you with the best bug moves are weak against you because they happen to also be poison types.
Correct.
The ghost Pokemon?
So Butterfree, yeah.
Yep. It's like Butterfree. Like
What?
Let me pull up Butterfree's
Yeah,
things.
but what bug moves? Like what bug moves would they? What offensive bug moves were there back then in Gen 1?
Ooh,
There
let
weren't
me.
too many.
Oh no, there was not many, and there was nothing impressive with it too.
Like what is she? What's that Butterfree gonna do? String shot? Like no,
Cross Scissor, I believe, was around.
No,
not in Gen 1.
no,
Not in Gen
That was
1.
not a Gen 1 move.
no. X Scissor.
It wasn't. I thought that was like Scyther's go-to.
Actually, yeah. So that one actually doesn't introduce for a long time. Actually, even going through because there's a series PokeTuber go through called M&J TV, where he has this whole thing where it's like the entire process and evolution and just like the timeline of what happened to these types of Pokemon while they went through. And also introduced like every gen also introduces like probably a good 3 to 8 different moves. Because during the time, literally the most powerful bug move was Twin Needle.
Oh, from Beedrill. He has that.
Yep.
I use that thing all the time. It was so good. But yeah, Butterfree, well, doesn't confuse to allow them to attack themselves.
It does, but that's also only a possibility if they get confusion.
You can confuse a psychic type.
Yes, but they can also confuse you. Oh my god, wait! There was another thing, and it was actually one of the biggest things in Pokemon that also made him OP. So do you know how there's a special attack and special defense?
Yes. Oh, back then they were combined.
It was just special. So
They were a single stat at the time. That's right.
yeah, the thing is with a lot of moves and types, some of them will usually have more priority if it's like a special or a physical. So, like Psychic is notorious for like 99% of the moves all being special attacks, which makes sense for them. Same reason why fighting type Pokemon, 90% of the moves are physical.
Mm.
Now, which also made the whole horrendousness that was why was Psychic type OP? Well, because their offense stat and defense stat were combined. And so when they have the two stats.
And Psychics had the highest special attack move stat out there.
Yep. So that ended up becoming a horrendous thing because, especially nowadays, they end up looking at Psychic. One of the things that they're notoriously bad at is having low defensive stats, which is, I mean, makes sense for a Psychic. Most of the things are just like social attack offense. But not this time. It's like, no. Your offense is as good as your defense, and my offense is overpowered because someone messed up in the programming, and now we're all gods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by all, we just mean Alakazam.
All right, so
because like he was just unstoppable.
Gen 1, apparently Butterfree does not have any bug type attacks. It's got three psychic attacks by level. So it has Confusion, Poison Powder, Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, Supersonic. I think that's actually a normal attack. Whirlwind, Gust, and Psybeam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
dang it! Actually, yeah, it doesn't learn a bug move at all.
I mean, I went with Jay's strategy when I was fighting it the first time. I just used Confusion and hope it beat itself to death.
Hold on. So, man, now I'm just looking at these lists like, no, I want to play the game called, how many of these bug Pokemon even learn bug type moves?
In Gen 1...
How many? What are bug type moves? Like, I'm still curious. What are the bug type moves in Gen 1?
That's what I want to find out. What is the bug attack moves?
Oh, I found them. All of them. Okay. There's only 4. Oh my god, and these suck. Okay. Who's ready to cringe?
Is the string shot times 4? No.
4 different versions of String Shot.
Actually, String Shot, it gets the bronze medal for the most accurate one because Pin Missile is accuracy of 85. Oh my god, and then there's also Leech Life, which only has a attack of 20, and then the most powerful bug type move of them all, Twin Needle, with an attack power of 25.
Twin Needle, and it's Beedrill gets that.
So,
Damn.
So what you're oh my goodness. So what you're telling me is Beedrill is the only true bug.
no. Other ones know the bug type moves as well. It's the only one knows Twin Needle. If we're going off that, technically, you can also say, oh my god, let me see. I think at the time Jolteon also knew Twin Needle.
Oh, okay. No, it wasn't Pin Needle. It was
No.
Twin.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Is it Twin Needle or Pin Needle?
Yeah, but Twin Needle is what they have at
Because
that
they're
time.
two different moves, I think.
Because I know Beedrill.
Okay, yeah, and actually, Twin Needle was, and actually a unique thing with Twin Needle. It was also the one at the time the only move that could if that was a non-poison type that could inflict the poison status.
Correct. Because it was meant to be for Beedrill.
Yeah, to try to fight against Pokemon that it's gonna be weak against. But oh, sorry, you're weak against Psychic too because you're a poison type.
That is rough and sad.
Yeah, but I also find it hilarious just going through the Butterfree set, just like it knows one bug move. It's String Shot.
What a life to lead.
You know what? Let's
And that's like the first move, and that's probably what the first move you end up making it forget. Why do you need to slow down Pokemon?
Yeah, all offense, all the time.
That was
and actually so another great thing. So y'all remember the Scyther and the Pinsir, essentially the actual big heavy hitters of the
Yeah.
of the bug type Pokemon at the time. It's like how great it would have been if they could only learn a bug type move.
Scyther doesn't learn bug moves. That's right. Scyther learns grass type attacks. So
Yes,
Scyther's a pretend bug, according to this.
oh, actually, not even grass type moves. Going through, Scyther literally has more psychic type moves
Oh, jeez.
than grass type or bug type. No bug type moves whatsoever, and same goes for Pinsir. So, another reason why Psychic was OP, because the most powerful of the bug type moves didn't even learn bug type moves. Or bug Pokemon.
Well, this explains a lot, because the thing is that I think after Sabrina, most of the other gym leaders are not nearly as tough to deal with.
Oh, absolutely not. And oh god, so I actually checked through all the rosters of the stuff and things for the bug Pokemon. Your best chance for fighting psychic Pokemon is Parasect,
Paris.
for it is the only Pokemon that is a bug type that learns a bug type move that also isn't weak to psychic. Gotta learn how to leech life the hell out of people with this guy.
Alright, so with this, moving on from this section, we'll go on to the next part of this, which I forget how you would travel in-game, because map-wise you can either go, because you're supposed to go here from Lavender Town, right? To Saffron City?
So I believe what we did is that we actually I don't even think we went to Vermilion City.
We did not go to Vermilion City.
We completely skipped that one because we went to Cerulean and then decided to go up the mountain path and then into Lavender Town because we talked about the ghost Pokemon, and then Mr. Fuji, and then all that horrendousness. And then from there, we decided to go from Lavender Town over to Saffron.
Yeah. So now from Saffron, our option is to go back down to Vermilion. I think we should circle back.
Yeah.
Well,
because I think Vermilion's just like a city we just need to like get to it and get out before we forget it.
yeah. So Vermilion.
Because I think after that, the rest we can do and go in full circle.
The neat thing about Vermilion City, I think we've talked about every one of these. The new Pokemon in there. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, because when we were going up, we already talked about the Diglett cave that happened there. But this is also the area.
This is where we get
We can go.
Shelder and Krabby, which is basically just a crab.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Shelder's a little different though.
Yeah, Shelder's a nice little shell, a shelliness.
Oh, Shelder.
But this is also where we visit the SSN as well.
Yeah, Shelder evolves into. Shelder is just basically a clam, if it looks like, right? And then it turns into a really big. Shelder goes into Cloyster, which is just another
type. Actually, let me actually look up because I want to see what type.
Wait, so is Shelder the one that
Shelter's the one
that attaches to Slow.
Yes.
Okay, so Shelter is the one that bites Slowbro and turns into Slow, or Slowpoke and turns into Slowbro. I also love that when they did that the first time in the anime is just hilarious to me. Gets up, turns around, realizes there's a thing attached to my tail. Well, I guess I'm a new Pokemon now.
I guess I evolved now.
Like, well, this is a thing. Low, right? And actually, one thing I always find interesting with Cloyster is that it's also an ice type. And I'm trying to see like what kind of clams are in like the coldest areas.
Yeah, there's a type of clams that go there called Arctic surf clams. They're clams that just basically are in the Arctic. They are extremely valuable. Oh, for clams, for the fishery department, for fishing. Which kind of makes sense. So a thing with like lobsters, for example, lobsters become if you buy lobsters, there's different places that lobster shells and their coloring will differ depending on what waters that they're in. Which is why a lot of people will spend really good money to get lobsters from the New England area, because they have to develop in a very particular way. Typically, if you see a big bright red one, it's usually those kind of lobsters from the New England area. But there's not as many of them as some of the other ones. So it's funny because this came up in an episode of Hell's Kitchen where they were advertising New England lobsters, but they actually bought lobsters from northern Canada, I think, because it was cheaper. Because New England, the lobsters are way more expensive. But yeah, there are clams that are in the Arctic waters.
I'm pretty sure that's also. I'm pretty sure the whole ice thing is also the reference on just like the fact when you get oysters, they're always like on ice. And actually, even
because they're served on ice.
Oh yeah, actually, I even looked up and tried seeing which type of oysters the modeled Cloyster out of, and I found the Pacific oyster, which is also known as the Japanese oyster and the Miyagi oyster. But
speaking of which, that reminds me of something that we kind of skipped earlier on in these episodes.
Oh?
So one of the things about Pokemon is that each of the Pokemons, each of their regions, are based upon a real region in the world. This one is Kanto, the section of Kanto, Japan, which I think is southern Japan.
It's also interesting to note too that that's like I think it might be the only time that it literally like just took the name of the area it was inspired by and used that as the name of the region. I think everything else has a different name convention that just implies it rather than being direct.
Yeah, no, Kanto, Japan is the looks like the center of.
It's actually a prefecture.
It's a prefecture to the center of Japan. This is the only time in the Pokemon's history where they legitimately just transferred the name over. And whenever you bump into something like when it's first gen, and they do something that literal, 9 times out of 10, it's because they didn't think they'll get a sequel. It's just a thing in gaming history. We name it this way because, well, this is probably the only time that we did it. The most famous video game example is why Final Fantasy is called Final Fantasy.
And that story alone gets misconstrued a number of different ways, too.
Oh, yeah, because they didn't expect it to go.
It was literally the developers. It was supposed to be their last product that they were going to make.
It was supposed to be Hironobu Sakaguchi's last video game project, period. But it also happened to be kind of like a potential swan song for the company at the same time. So it's more alluding to Sakaguchi more than Square directly. That's where it gets so confused because people associate it directly with Square's end, which it was going to be, but the name was more so for Sakaguchi than anything. In fact, he wanted it to be Fighting Fantasy initially.
But that's the thing. When it comes to a lot of naming conventions, it's because with those type of things where they name it after something so specific, 9 times out of 10 is because they don't think they're going to get a sequel or anything. They don't think that way because they just made the one game and that's it.
This is true.
But yeah, this is the only time that they use an actual region and name an actual region from one to the other.
Like the literal name of the region, because every other one is also just like a place. Because I know the first 4 gens are all placed in Japan, but I think that's because like I know I also pulled a map of it. Because Johto is supposed to be referenced from the Chubu region. Looks like Hoenn is the Kyushu, and Sinnoh is supposed to be based off the northern Hokkaido region. And yeah, even look at the map, it's just like they all make sense on that, especially for how they designed every game. Gen 5 is New York,
The Aloha is specifically
Hawaii.
Which one is Gen 5?
Gen 5 is Unova,
Hawaii.
and that one's based on New York, which is also just like, shows a Pokemon straying away from Japan. Just like, you know what? We're running out of areas, so let's visit the rest of the world with New York.
Yep. New York is one.
I mean, it gives you literally limitless possibilities at that point.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the newest one that's coming out, what is it called? Violet?
Ooh,
It's
Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
think that
based
one's
on
Spain.
Yep, Spain and
Yeah,
Portugal. The
that's
whole thing's
Spain.
based on it's all based on the Iberian Peninsula.
The Iberian Peninsula. Yep.
Yep, and actually, yeah, people were so actually going through the list. So after Unova goes Kalos, which is based off France, and then Aloha based on Hawaii, and then Galar, which is England, Scotland, all the areas.
Brandon's point, that is basically you have almost limitless possibilities. If you want to do a new one, you just move the location. Can't wait for Pokemon Canada.
Oh, jeez. It's like, oh my god, a line of reindeer Pokemon. Dude, what if Delibird gets an evolution? Listen. They go with that kind of stuff. But actually, that's also one of the things I love with Pokemon so much is that like every sort of Pokemon, especially if you do in different countries, different regions, you try to stuff in just as many references as they just possibly can. Because it's like you look at one and just like you think like all the basic ones, but then you start like, okay, let's check out some of it and through a different point of view or this way, and then it's just like, okay, the reference are this and that and this, because like honestly, after we end up finding out that Zubat's French name is Nosferatu.
Ah, yes, Nosferatu.
It's like that.
The movie that was sued into oblivion over the Bram Stoker estate.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep, I know. I know.
So, if we're in Vermilion City, there is one new Pokemon that we haven't got to talk about, and this confused me the crap as a kid.
Ooh.
Farfetch'd.
Ooh.
Farfetch.
Oh.
I love Farfetch.
Farfetch is super fun to me. Farfetch is the one I was confused on whether or not Pokemon were their own animals or Pokemon are the animals of this world. And here's why.
Okay, yeah.
Farfetch is literally described as a duck.
Yes. I fully agree with you on that. Because also wondering, and when watching all the Pokemon series and all that, do you start wondering, where did they get all the meat from? Do they actually eat these Pokemon? I want answers.
No, we go to a meat farm, dummy.
There's no in-town butcher.
Farfetch.
But there is Farfetch'd. So Farfetch'd is, I think it's literally described as a duck who's confused and thinks it's a samurai.
No. It is not confused. It fully thinks it's a samurai.
That's dope. I love that.
It is full on ready to take that leak and then take you to the most far-fetched towns. Trying to pull up Pokemon data entries of this guy, because I think Farfetch was also the absolute canon that yes, in Pokemon they absolutely eat the Pokemon, because his data entry literally states, oh, it's actually very properly served well with its leek, for a nice hearty meal. I'm like, okay.
It might be a hearty meal, but man, is that a shock to these guys, because basically it's all right, you're my Pokemon. I'll send you out into the world, and I'll also use that leek to season you with your own weapon when I finally consume and eat you. That is self-seasoning Farfetch'd.
Self-seasoned.
I do like Farfetch'd. Now, Farfetch'd is one of those Pokemon that does not have an evolution in Gen 1, but it will have an evolution later. It evolves into Galarian.
Yeah, it has a Galarian form, yeah.
Oh yeah, and Galar, and that's when we get into regional forms.
That's a future episode.
But that's a future conversation.
So yeah, but Farfetch'd.
It's like we're kicking it back to basics.
I like how Galarian looks like a much more angry and stoic version of Farfetch'd.
Yes.
And the leak is just enormous.
Yeah, it's a giant poking weapon now.
Yeah, but then it turns out if you actually look it up, no, English leaks way bigger than Japanese leaks.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Oh yeah, no. If you actually look up Japanese style leaks and just okay how they grow, it's like okay nice little kind of like celery stalks. But the ones that come from England, oh no, that size comparison is not just for show.
Huh.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. But that is a weird take, but it is a thing. Different regions might have the same food that's grown, and they'll come out differently at the on the other side, I think. And it's a lot like that for different vegetation. For a long time, the strongest piece of wood that you can find was an oak tree. But if you want even stronger, you need to get one from England, or at least that's what the myth behind the English oak was going to be. But who knows?
Yeah, Pokemon trying to put in as many references as possible. Yes, even down to this walking duck's weapon of choice. But also, in this wonderful area, is where I meet our electric gym leader, Lieutenant Surge.
Ha! His name is very on the nose on that one.
Oh, absolutely. But actually, I remember what the whole thing with Lieutenant Surge is that he's a big part of why people would think that there was a whole Poke War that happened in Kanto, which is what they tried using as an explanation on why there's really no adult men around. There's elderly men, people like Lieutenant Surge, and then children.
I fought in the Great War, Sonny.
And this Raichu saved my life.
What year is it?
Look, don't ask questions you don't want to know, like what year is Pokemon, because that gets confusing.
What year is it? Yes. Oh, okay.
Depending on what you're looking at, anywhere between 1988 through now, through 2020, possibly 2050.
But if you also go through the electrical gym, don't forget to be ready to fight some Pikachus, Voltorbs, and Magnemites as well. And the final boss of Lieutenant Surge's Raichu. And can we just all appreciate the level of adorable chunk that Pikachu was at the very beginning?
Oh yeah, I forgot how chubby and Chonkachu was cute.
Yes. Chonkachu was best chew.
Chonkachu.
Ooh, actually, that's interesting. So it looks like in Red and Blue, Lieutenant Surge actually has 3 Pokemon: Voltorb 21, Pikachu 18, and Raichu 24. But in Yellow, he's like, F it, gonna reference anime so hard, I'm only gonna have Raichu. But he's gonna be level 28.
I'll have Raichu, and that's it. That's all I need.
And it's like, I'll have one Raichu, but I need him to be a little more OP than what you're probably gonna be ready for. Because by this time, you should barely have Pokemon in the level 20s, and mine is this close to 30.
He needs to be beefy.
Well, so Lieutenant Surge sort of explains, if you're thinking about it, and some of us will think about Pokemon far too much, why is no guns made in the Pokemon universe? Because they don't need them. If I have a little pet rat that's completely loyal to me, that'll shoot lightning, why bother?
Mm-hmm.
We even brought that up as a thing in the Glass Swords podcast episode. The main reason why a lot of the people used obsidian as a weapon in South America, there was just plenty of it, and it was easier than trying to just get more metal.
Mm-hmm.
If you how's that old saying? If you have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
Oh yeah, like in yeah, especially during the area. What is the point? Like, why bother trying to mine for metals when this super glass sharp lava rock is so much better?
But yeah. So Lieutenant Surge, and that's pretty much it as far as the new stuff in this particular town, I think.
Yeah, all you really get through here is, well, of course, Lieutenant Surge. You gotta fight through him. Learn. You got the SSN.
The SSN, which is
which is also
that's the SSN is a reference to a famous boat. Just trying to remember which one it is. But the SSN, from what I understand, is completely skippable. You can just ignore the whole thing.
Ooh, but SSN also has that one little reference and rumor of Mew being under the truck.
What?
If you just surf right next to it.
You can surf next to a truck?
You never heard about that?
Alright, I'm lost with that one.
Yeah, okay, so the rumor was about catching Mew. And so, you know how, Mew was supposed to be, under a truck and all that stuff?
Mm.
So the thing is, the people said the truck's location was you go towards SSN like you're trying to abort it, but instead of aborting it, you surf across. You keep going to the right, and at some point you get to the truck in which allegedly Mew was laying.
Huh, weird. Apparently, there's Interpol in Pokemon may not have regular police, but they do have Interpol. There's an international police agency that's running around because you bump into them in the SSN. So SSN or Saint Anu, as it's translated in the Japanese origin, is a name that they take from Game Freak's other game, and for those who have played the Sega Mega Drive back in the day, Pulseman. But also, its literal translation is Saint Anne, which Saint Anne is the name of another boat in France. So yeah, there's your long-standing Sega reference in this Nintendo game.
Sega.
Alright. And now I believe from here we can go eastwards. Not really many new Pokemon you can find in the grass that we haven't talked about yet. Mostly just Pidgey, Sandshrews.
Well, you're Route 11.
Yeah. I see Ekans, Sandshrews, Spearows, Drowsies.
Drowsy we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah. Oh, we haven't talked about Drowsy, have we?
Nope.
No, Drowsy.
So Drowsy
It's a tapir.
is a weird one. The what?
Drowsy is a tapir.
Oh, a tapir.
Yeah, in Japan they have like little rumor things where tapirs are like tapir beings actually eat your dreams, and that's what Drowsy is a complete reference of.
Huh.
Oh yeah, tapirs and dreams actually are kind of a thing Pokemon that comes again because there's another tapir dreamish Pokemon that happens in Gen 5. I did find a name of the creature that he is based on. Yeah, it's called a Baku.
A Baku?
Yes, Baku looks like. Yes, because even in Japanese folklore, tapirs were known for being able to eat people's dreams, and which is leading more into the whole ability of like how they're supposed to be some sort of like evil dream eaters and why they're associated with the monster like a Baku. Oh, the references.
Let's see here. From here, I think we're moving on from Route 11 to Route 12, and after that, but I think Route 12 is where we find the Snorlax.
Yes, actually. Yes, because we ended at Route 12. I think we're making our way to Vermilion, so. Okay. Ooh. But, would you say there are some odd Pokemon around this area? Or perhaps
Well, that's a lot. There's a lot of odd Pokemon around this area.
some seem a little more oddish than others?
Oh, we've talked about Oddish before.
Oh, yeah. I just really like it. Yeah, joke. You're choosing Venonat, the bug Pokemon. That's not going to help you against a Psychic.
You think Venonat's not going to help you? No. Right now, the best bug that you've got your hands on is going to be that Butterfree, Venonat, which I think is just a gnat. And Venonat upgrades into a moth.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Venonat's just a gnat. Venomoth is a moth. Sometimes your Pokemon is right on the nose. They do not get complicated.
Actually, is there a connection between moths and like poisonous stuff? Like, other moths are actually known for being super toxic?
It's possible that the powders that they leave behind on some of them might have a toxic effect, but I personally don't recall.
They do leave a weird powder residue, though.
Actually, that is also one of Venomoth's data entrants, where it even talks about how Venomoth is notorious for just leaving poisonous powders whenever it just flies away. Or it just flutters its wings really fast towards you and just blast poison dust, and it's like, no, get out. I hate you and your stupid face.
Yeah, the powder is apparently a set of tiny scales that are made from the moths, and it just sort of puffs out for that. But in general, those most moths' powders are not poisonous. They do irritate your skin and eyes, though, so they get a reputation for it. Irritation does not mean poisonous.
Okay, so I'm also looking up some of Venomoth's names in other languages for funsies. It looks like its Japanese name is called Morphon.
Morphon.
Its French name looks like, if I'm pronouncing this right, it's Edomite. Edomite. Flying mite.
It's a flying mite. But then we get to talk about a big boy, the Snorlax.
Ooh. The biggest of boys.
Because this is where you bump into Snorlax, and he's just in the road.
Yep. Oh my god. I love his German name. Wanna know what his German name is?
Sure.
Relaxo.
Relaxo! That sounds actually surprisingly comfortable.
Relax! Relaxo.
So Snorlax, I know that Snorlax's origins was actually from one of the developers, looks a lot like Snorlax, and apparently is just always wanting to take a nap, and so they made it into a Pokemon.
Yeah, man. But yeah, also I think at the time, especially in the very beginning, Snorlax was also the most tanky Pokemon you even could get in Pokemon.
Super tanky. So Snorlax so there was one of the game developers, his name was Koji Nishino, which looks a lot like a Snorlax, and that's the one that they modeled Snorlax off of specifically.
Both touching and upsetting.
If you end up looking around at a lot of the developers and such, because there's so many of them that work on Pokemon, that just out of curiosity, they just sort of add people in as some of the draw them in as some of the NPCs, just because.
Yeah. I mean, inspiration can come from anywhere, so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and actually, while we're on the subject of Snorlax, this also is a nice thing to remembering from normal types in the very beginning, where there were certain normal types and moves where at the time, normal was probably one of the most powerful types out there. Because a lot of normal type moves is attacks, since they weren't based off the usual stats they are now, would be based off the speed of the Pokemon. So a good example would be Slash. And the power of Slash, the chance of critical hit would be based on like the speed of it. And during the time, it literally made Persian one of the most overpowered Pokemon at the beginning. Because when you had a Persian with Slash, it could just like sweep everyone just because it could outspeed and like out-hit it every single time and also get a critical hit every single time as well.
Oh yeah, it is one of the meanest moves that you can get, especially early on, is to get that Persian and that Slash.
Not to mention that with normal type Pokemon, another very devastating thing about them is that they also have the ability to learn the widest variety of move pools. Because like there's really nothing holding them back. It's just like they're sort of just a regular being. They're just like, I'm gonna learn this special elemental thing because I don't have any other elements holding me back. And it's like I can do fire and water because I'm just me.
So it's kind of funny because the Snorlax is how we know it right now, because is the popular English name for it, because Snorlax is combination's name of snore and lax, as in relaxing. However, in its Japanese name, it was Kabigon, which is a rough translation of Kirby from Kirby.
Oh my god.
Mostly because the way that his origins are is that Snorlax will eat a bunch of food and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's what happened here.
That's all he does.
He fell asleep. He ate something in this on this path, fell asleep, and we just left him on the road because how are you? Snorlax weighs like over almost a ton or so, and it's just kind of a pain to move him. And there's another road, we'll just leave him. And so that's what Snorlax does. It's also remember that Snorlax is based upon teddy bears, or bears specifically, because they are known for mass hibernation. They eat a bunch of food and then they hibernate. That's what bears do.
And then also with Snorlax, that's also the reason you had to help out Mr. Fuji, because Mr. Fuji was the reason at the Lavender Town Tower is where you also got the Poke Flute, because that's what you need to wake up Snorlax.
To be honest, I get this. I ate a bunch of food. I'm going to go into a food coma. I'm going to lie down. I'm not getting up for nothing. Unless some jerk is going to play a huge flute behind my head repeatedly. Fine, I'm getting up. I got it.
And also the fact that the flute is also an item you can use in battles as well, and it just wakes up Pokemon. So if like Sleep Powder, where you can wake them up. If they're hypnotized, you can wake them up. If you want to use rest so they can heal up, and you don't want to wait 2 turns for them to wake up, but like 1 turn, oh no, I woke you up with my flute.
Here's the thing: you can use that flute at any time, which means that inside those stadiums there is the official Pokemon rules says if the trainer wants to play a song, I'm not gonna stop him. It's perfectly legit.
It's like, listen, this is a turn-based fight. And if they want to use a turn to play an epic flute solo, why should we stop them?
Also,
like, I mean, they're the ones that are going to be using this time in the fight to play a flute solo.
It's kind of like the weird thing, like, we didn't... Which means that somebody else previously brought a flute or musical instrument in the middle of a combat fight, and they're like, we need a rule for this. What do we say? All right, we let it go in.
It's like, are you sure? It's like, well, I mean, we let them use special items to bump up, like, which are essentially little steroid things. We sometimes let them eat halfway through the fight, and it's like, wait, it's like, what do you mean they're gonna take some time to step up the field to eat an orange berry? And like, well, I mean, we do make it turn based. I feel like to make it fair, so it's just like to get an option to like, do you want to do the thing or not do the thing? So it's just like, why stop them? It's like as long as they're not trying to rob or steal from you, I think it's all fine.
It's like one of those rules that comes in. It's like it never comes up before until now. What's a really famous one? I think Ken Griffey Jr. once was playing baseball, hit the ball, it hits the foul. So if you know anything about baseball, baseball is played on a baseball diamond, but they have two poles at the end to mark two large lines on the foul line. Because if it goes on one side of the line, it's a foul. If it goes inside the lines, though, it's in play. Now, why this is important is Ken Griffey Jr. hit the ball once on the with the baseball. It hits the pole and rolls over and into the stadium stands. What do you count that as? You can't find the ball, but it's neither on the line or on the other side of the line. It literally hit the line and went away.
Huh.
I believe they actually count that as just a home run, and we call it.
I was like, fuck it, a home run. Just get another ball. We'll start again from scratch.
But yeah, there's weird rules like a rule is set in the game because somebody else did this. Now we have to have a rule for it.
Yeah.
I think in baseball, not baseball. I think in golf, if an animal literally takes your ball and drops it off in the hole, it still counts as one play.
It's like, well, I mean, yeah.
It's a natural outcome.
It was hilarious in King of the Hill. It comes up once with Dale Gribble. Hank Hill and the guys are going to go play golf, and Dale just comes up. All right. So if a bird flies down, picks up my ball, carries the ball, goes to the hole, drops it off, we still count that as a hole in one, right? Dale, what are the odds that's going to happen a second time? Which means it happened once.
Which is upsetting enough.
And it's like might as well, when in doubt, always go the Doofenshmirtz route. Just like, if I hit a nickel for every single time this happened, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't very much, but it's still pretty bizarre that it happened twice.
I actually had to make a meme on that. Well, I'm like, Capcom's weird. They actually have 2 hit zombie-based game series. Again,
Yeah.
weird, but they've done it twice. Alright, so after this area, we leave the Snorlax.
Like, we play Snorlax, the song of our people. Skilly-dee, skilly-doo.
Skilly.
We go south to Route 13, and we have Dittos. We have Dittos in this area.
Yeah, Ditto.
Ditto, the Pokemon that just won't be what it can be, whatever you want it to be, baby.
The clone Pokemon. Like, Ditto's transformation Pokemon. And Ditto is the interesting about Ditto is that its crazy Pokemon transformation and stuff isn't really explored enough until, like, other gens. Gen 1, it makes itself look like the Pokemon you're facing and then uses its same moveset. That's all Ditto does.
Okay, so interesting things about Ditto that I found out. Let's look up. Okay, so some of its foreign names in other languages. So it is also called Ditto in Germany, but in Japan they call it Metamon.
As in Metamorphosis?
Oh yes, but I'm glad you mentioned that because the French called it Metamorph.
I think Metamorph is also a French term.
Oh, what do you know? That's why. And actually, what's another really dope thing that I ended up finding is that it actually has a completely even stat pool, which would make sense because it's a gimmick. It just turns whatever it's in front of it. So who wants to hear a Pokemon theory?
There's some crazy theories with Ditto alone.
Oh yeah, but this one is interesting because it's a connection that Ditto could potentially have with Mew.
All right, go for it.
The connection is that Dittos are actually failed experiments of Mews.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Yes, and there are actually a number of things that actually support it. So one of the connection starters is the fact that transform is only learned even to this day, by only Ditto and Mew.
8 generations, only 2 characters have that move.
And not to mention that their normal colors and their shiny colors are actually the exact same colors as well. Honestly, a lot of people are thinking just like, okay, Ditto can literally just turn to every sort of Pokemon just in front of it. Just like, but why though? But then we also have someone like Mew, where its little data entry it states just like, oh no, it has the genetic like makeup that is connected to every Pokemon in existence.
So it can be whatever it want to be. And if you've seen Detective Pikachu, the film, it can get kind of extreme on that one. Straight up into, creepy territories.
Oh yeah, the Ditto transforming, but its face stays the same.
Yeah, that is very much Ditto lives in the world that is Uncanny Valley.
Oh, have we already talked about Gloom here, by the way?
Gloom. I don't think so.
Yeah, because I also saw Gloom in the last one. I don't think. Yeah, because I already know we talked about the entire Victorville line. So let's talk about Gloom and how it looks like it's high from its own plant.
Yep, it looks like it's getting high on its own supply.
And it's like, Oddish is just little radish walking around with its little legs, but then when it grows little arms and its leaves turn into a big old fat flower plant. What is the name of that plant? Hold on.
The fat flower plant that it's based on?
Yes.
It's based off of a genus of plants. The Mandragoria is what it's originally based off of, because there's the mandrakes, which is basically, roots that happen to, is a mythical plant with roots that happen to also have a face on it, and it can scream a lot. It's weird. But it is based slightly on what's called, of a plant type called, I hope I say this right, Rafflesia, which is a genus of parasitic flowering plants in the family of Raffleaceae.
I believe it's also colloquially known as the corpse flower.
Yes, I think that's
because it literally smells like a rotting corpse.
Yeah, actually, I found that too on that, and well, actually, the fact that you said it was a toxic plant also shows why Gloom and the entire Vileplume line are poison types, poison grass types.
Also, if you get a nice little picture of it, sometimes that type of flower looks like, a thing from Stranger Things. It's nasty looking. Neat though. Yeah, but those plants are on the grapevine family, so yeah, they grow off of different vines and such. Corpse flowers are. I wonder if corpse flowers is one of those things like we had to give it a different name because its original name is just kind of creepy and scary. Like blood red is actually crimson red because it was crimson is a much nicer way of saying it instead of blood red.
Right.
Okay, so I was double checking my research on this because we've come across quite a number of poison type Pokemon, haven't we?
None of them bugs. No, bugs have poisons. They just don't have bugs types attacks.
Oh yeah, no. A lot of bugs, like a few bugs Pokemon, half of them are poison types. A lot of plant Pokemon, also poison types. A lot of poisonous Pokemon that are also poison types. But I was able to find the ratio of the poison type to all the Pokemon in Kanto when it's first introduced. And out of the 152, 33 of them were poison types.
That's a real problem that you have.
Oh yeah, like even to this day, just like no, this like ratio-wise, this is the highest amount of poison types ever introduced in a single region. And you know what poison types are also really weak against? Psychic types!
Yay!
Hooray!
Yay! Psychic type being super OP because someone couldn't do their job right. Except the dude that worked the dialogue. But then they called him a narc and took away his script.
He's a narc! Get him!
It's like, I'm not a narc, I just did my job right. Get to my level, scrubs.
It's everyone else that messed up on this one.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm doing my job right, not playing Splash on the computer.
Here's the thing, right? So Velplume, its evolution goes from Gloom to Velplume. Gloom looks like it's just high on its own supply and just drugged up on all recognition. Velplume looks like they're just happy-go-lucky, ready to have fun with their flowers.
Oh, well, Lou, I feel like I can explain this fairly well. Go me on this. Now,
All right.
Oddish is the beginner, just going by, just like, oh, it's got the nice little shrubbery upon its scalp. But then, you know what happens? It grows up and thinks, what is this shrubbery like? And then it gets high on its fumes and it's not used to it. So you know what happens when it turns a Vileplume? It finally got used to the fumes and it's like, okay, this is the good kind of thing I'm looking for. This is what it is, alright? Same flower, the difference is it got used to the smell.
You know what? I can get behind that.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I will admit, it does not have the best move pool though. So I pulled up Vileplume's OG move pool, and from the looks of it, out of the 5 moves it naturally learns, only 2 of them are actual attacks, and the other 3 are just powders. All the powders. It does learn quite a variety of well, you got your sleep powders, your stun spores, and your poison powders. All your basic stat, all your basic stat effects. Minus the burns and the freezes.
All right, so normally we'd go forward, but instead let's backtrack a bit and make our way to Celadon City, because we are those Pokemon players that got lost halfway through Pokemon.
We didn't get lost. We were exploring. You see, we were going back to Vermilion City, and then we just went back up to Saffron City, and we were just reminding everyone how much BS the Psychic Pokemon were because we needed to remind them of it. And it's like, oh, what up, Team Rocket? Flub you, you mother hubbards. Like, yeah. Ooh, actually, did we talk about the Lapras that you get in Saffron City? Actually, hold on. I think we haven't even gotten to the entire Team Rocket Tower in Saffron City.
No, we did. We touched it, but not by much. So backtracking in this case, we'll end up back in Saffron City, where one thing that we almost missed is Team Rocket's special tower in there.
Yay. Oh, Team Rocket. How you keep just doing bad stuff. Stop it. Get help.
You tell him stop. No. Did that actually work? No.
Ooh, here we are. The Sylph Company and its 11 floors of Team Rocket BSery.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout this time,
the
Silphco.
and yep, Sylphco, full of all the Team Rocket grunts and scientists you can fight. Now, with those fights, you mostly go against the Nosferaptis and its evolution Golbats. Sometimes it has Raticates. It's so cute. It's such a cute name.
Team Rocket's whole army is based on numbers, not based on skill. That's why everyone has Zubats instead of
Oh yeah. But this is like, you know what? Well, we caught a bunch of these Pokemon, so let's just use them. I do also see that some Team Rocket members have Cubones, and I'm like, I wonder where we could have gotten them. Damn.
Wasn't that where Team Rocket's old headquarters
Anyways.
was? Which is super haunted now?
That's where the current one is. Oh yeah. Looks like the scientists are usually either carrying Magnemites and Voltorbs, along with Grimers, Wheezings, and Coughings.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Have we touched on Coughings and Grimers yet?
We did. They came from Muck.
Yeah. And let me see, going through some more stuff. Ooh. Looks like some of them even have Dugons and Electrodes. Some have Machops. Damn. Yeah, at this point, I'm literally just like climbing up the tower and seeing like how far we go with like how many asses do we need to kick in this tower.
Mm-hmm.
I am coming across some Mr. Mimes, Hypnos, and Kadabras.
We haven't talked about Mr. Mime, which...
You mean Ash's stepdad?
What?
Look, you said it, not me, man.
Oh, I may have missed that episode.
Listen, it's like I know that like the kind of in the series just adopted Mr. Mime just to stay as a housemaid for Ash, his mom, but like, you know, he's getting a little too comfortable with Ash's mom, and it's like at this point, just like people are just saying like, are we gonna say Mr. Mime should be like Ash's pseudo stepdad at this point? Because he kind of is.
Your stepfather is this Pokemon. Now I'm gonna leave to go hang out with Professor Oak for a while. You two be good. That brings up a whole series of questions I don't want to ask. But this is where you first meet up with Giovanni, isn't it?
Wait, we've come across Giovanni before, haven't we? Yeah, because How many times? How many times do we fight Giovanni? Because I think we come across Giovanni at the Pokemon Tower.
Giovanni's because Giovanni shows up at Team Rocket's hideout, Viridian's gym, and Silphco. So we'll save Giovanni for later. The important thing to note is that Giovanni at this point is really bad at telling you that he's in charge of Team Rocket. Like really, really bad about this. He is your mob boss leader.
Does he have to tell them though? Because he's kind of always with Team Rocket, so it's like, at this point, if you don't make the connection, it's just like, oh my god, Giovanni, how are you conveniently always with Team Rocket? Whoa, he must be a really strong trainer for none of them to beat you. Like, yeah, totally. It's not like they're on my payroll or anything.
Wink.
Oh god. Yeah. Have we talked about Hypno though?
Not Hypno. No, we have not.
And how Hypno is also in the same category as Kadabra and Alakazam of where did you get that thing? Because this dude gets a pendulum.
I thought it was a watch.
No, it's a
pendulum.
pendulum. Yeah, pendulum, just regular one. He just goes back and forth.
He just has it.
Oh yeah, and actually he continues the whole thing with the whole dream aspect on it because he got Drowsy, the tapir that eats the dreams, but then you got Hypno, who is the one who puts people to sleep.
Oh man, Hypno is better. So what do you do with Hypno? Take a nap? Hypno will solve your insomnia right quick.
Yeah, his whole basis is he would hypnotize children and have them follow him off into the night where he would devour them or some weird shenanigans.
What?
Yeah, he was a kidnapper.
Oh yeah, no, it was. Oh yeah, no, he's absolutely creepy with that. Mm-hmm. He was a straight like Pied Piper style. Actually, foreign names. Its French name is Hypnomade. Hypnomade? Hypnomade? I don't speak French. But Hypnomade is what it looks like. And its Japanese name is Sleeper.
Mhm.
Suripa.
Sleeper.
Go! Suripa! Suripa. Oh my god. Now I want to hear what it sounds like in the Japanese dub of Pokemon. Because I'm remembering how it talks in English, and it has an echo in its voice when it goes like Hypno. But now I'm just imagining it in Japanese just coming out, just hearing it, just whisper Sriba. It's like, go away. I don't need you here. Oh, and you know who likes hanging out with Team Rocket grunts and scientists? A juggler. There's a juggler in this tower. He's the one with the Mr. Mime and Kadabra.
This corporate tower, which is actually a front for my whole crime organization. And I have goons and mob bosses and enforcers and this one juggler. I'm still working on the details of that one. I'm pretty certain this was an accident, but we have a juggler here.
I was like, no, not an accident. We just kind of like him. Ooh, this is also so going down. So right now I'm at level 6 on all this, and some Team Rocket members also come with Machops and Machokes. So if when in doubt, if poison doesn't work, just beat the crap out of them.
I mean, not a mob boss, but I'm putting it out there.
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, going through now that I reached the 7th floor, we got this wonderful Rocket Grunt with at least 2 Cubones. This one I do like him because he has somewhat variety, consisting of like a Coughing, Golbat, Arbok, and Raticate. I'm like, a lot of poison, but at least it's different kinds of poison, and not like 4 Zubats like the first guy.
First guy's got 4 Zubats. It's not even a theme. That's the only thing he can catch.
It's like 3 Zubats. It's like, I got a Golbat. That's just a Zubat but bigger. And actually going through, one Rocket Grunt changes the mark and comes at you with Sandshrew and Sand Slashes. He's like, you know what? Poison's not working, guys. We gotta show how well grounded we are.
I get it.
Yeah, you do. Now, this in the 7th floor, this is also where we run into our wonderful rival, and where I'm also trying to wonder is, hey, but if we're going up a tower that 100% has a bad guy in it that is sort of kidnapped Pokemon, why are you battling me? Like, can't we work together to sort of beat this guy? Well, Gary.
Well, it's go time. That's how this is it.
He's
I'm
like,
fighting you on the top of this tower because it looks cool.
I'm a beat the crap out of you here because you beat me up in the graveyard last time while I was sulking when my Raticate died, so now I'm gonna beat you up when you're trying to beat a mafioso.
Pokemon is weird sometimes.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. Ooh, actually, I am looking at Gary's team in Pokemon Yellow versus his team in Red and Blue. I'm noticing a few differences that are kind of interesting. So you know how whenever he chooses his starter, he has a different rotation of what two Pokemon is going to replace like the other types in the triangle.
Mhm.
So in the red and blue one, the ones he rotates with is Gyarados, Execute, and Growlithe. But it looks like in yellow, he actually rotates between Magneton, Ninetales, and Cloyster.
Huh.
And actually, that one, usually has two of those ones to balance out which evolution it evolved his Pokemon to.
Intriguing.
Oh, this makes sense. So that's why, so that makes sense because that's why there's a rotation between the electric, fire, and water as opposed to the water, grass, and fire on that one. All right. Is there anything in floor 8 of interest? No.
Nothing on floor.
Floor 9? No, just man. I hope Giovanni pays these guys well because they do not get paid enough to get their asses kicked by a 10-year-old.
Look, this is a world of Pokemon. They should have gone Pokemon training instead of Mafia doing. That's why crime doesn't pay.
Well, that was
Well, that's their fault.
their fault.
I think that's it for that tower, right?
I'm trying to find where in this tower we actually find Lapras though. Well, out there.
A scientist gives you Lapras.
Okay, because it does say it's a gift in Silphco.
Yeah, okay, so there's a scientist that's been kidnapped by Team Rocket. You save that scientist, and as a reward, the scientist gives you Lapras.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just can't find like what floor that scientist is even on. But you know what? Lapras is somewhere in here, and someone is just like, "Thank you so much. Take this endangered Pokemon as your own, and go fight." And now you can go against Giovanni, who comes at you with Nidorinos, Nidoqueens, Kangaskhans, and Rhyhorns. Sometimes, if you're in yellow, it will come at you with a Persian in the mix.
I promise we'll get to Giovanni, but when we get to Giovanni's gym, which is also a front, but not a front.
Hold on. Hey. Doesn't mean we can't talk about Giovanni on the way there. Just like, you know what? He has a little bit of thing. He's trying to give us an introduction, okay? He's like, hey guys, how's it going? I got a side gig going on, just running the criminal underground. And here's my Pokemon. So I'm bounce out since you stopped my tower.
Yeah, had none of it. But yeah, Silphco, totally a front. Whether they make it Silphco, who knows? Who cares?
But from that area, we can continue going west. Let's see, to Route 7.
Route 7. No one new there for it. Wait, Vulpix is new though.
We do have Vulpix.
Vulpix will evolve into is the one that evolves to Ninetales, right?
Yep.
Which always confused me because I get it. Ninetales. It's a pretty simple one. Ninetales has 9 tails. Not complicated here. Vulpix, however, has 5 tails?
6.
I just kind of always hope that, like, Vulpix will, as Vulpix evolves, gets older, gets more tails. But no. It just jumps like a bunch of, when it evolves, it will just add the extra tails.
So you're set with Vulpix because it just jumps from 6 to 9 tails just without warning. Like no build up to the 9th tail.
No build up to the 9th tail.
It's like, listen, I know that this Pokemon is just, one of the most classic of Japanese references, but just like, you couldn't give us a better name for the American version? It's like the English couldn't have a better name like Ninetales. Why couldn't we have a smaller fox with 3 tails?
Tri-tails.
See, I think that would be cool. Okay, when it starts out, it's got 3, then goes to 6, then goes to 9. I get it now.
And like mixes with it's just like, you know what Leo wants deep down is an even smaller fox with less tails. So it fills in the blanks to get up to 9 tails.
But yeah, so it is the Ninetales is clearly based upon the 9-tailed demon, and I think this is one of those weird cases where it sounds like that they came up with the ending first, then went backwards. Because if you're going through mythology, there is you go with Nine-Tailed Fox, but we need something to pop up before the Nine-Tailed Fox, so that's where Vulpix comes in.
And it's like, what if we just made a smaller fox with less tails? Should we make an even smaller one? It's like, no. I feel like maybe just like 6 tails is enough.
Vulpix is super cute, though. I will not deny that.
It is. And I think like even in Pokemon, Ninetales is notorious for just also being very like mystical. So you don't like so even in Pokemon they're not even hiding just like no, we know this is a huge reference and we're gonna use all the reference things we can.
But is it just me, or does it just sound like they came up with Ninetales first, then went backwards? Apparently, in the beta version of Red, and Blue, so when they first came out, they had to change. I need to look something up real quick for it because Vulpix's original name was actually supposed to be called Firefox.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Firefox.
Nah, Firefox, the web browser software, apparently came out around 2002. I just wanted to take a look at that.
I'm just trying to imagine, just like, what if they actually trademarked it before Firefox? What if they would have been called? What if they called it their website Ninetales instead and just like made like little dashes into Fox's tail?
And it looks like it's a little concerning.
A whole Pokemon what if?
According to the there's like a figure because it's the Vulpix is a English, Spanish, German, and Italian name is Vulpix, but it's believed that it's related to the Roman god of fire and forge, Vulcan. But
Ooh,
don't know if that's true-ish enough.
odds are it probably is because like I said, any sort of stretch that you even can find they probably did do it, like either one way or another, and it's like like no, like I'm like the fact. Okay, no, we're going to Celadon City. The fact that you guys that Erica was originally thought just like, oh, it's just Erica a name, but like no. Erica is literally short for the Erica sees like categories of plant species. I was like, how like you guys Pokemon will go to whatever stretch it will take to make some sort of reference. It's like there could be like 100 references just in like all these names combined and what Vulpix is. So it's like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
The Vol being short for like Vulcan.
A stretch, but yeah, I'll take it.
A stretch, but you know what? Like yeah, they'll take it. Just like you know what? Everything that pops out, it's a game of how many references can we pull out of this guy.
Apparently, the Korean name roughly translates to six-tail for Vulpix, though, so that one decides to be on the nose on that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Vulpix will turn into a Ninetales, and anybody who's seen a Nine-Tailed Fox, so Naruto, should know that their Nine-Tailed Foxes are a Kitsune giant and also a demon type thing. And the Ninetales are definitely all mystical and such. I'm surprised they don't come with their own like type of mist. Alright, so I think that's enough for the Vulpix and the Ninetales for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ninetales is a Japanese. Is it supposed a Japanese demon or what?
What, the Ninetales?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just the basic tale of the Nine-Tailed Fox. That's all it's really
It's based on the mythology of the Kitsune.
Yeah.
Where every 1,000 years they grow another tail, and they are mischievous spirits.
Okay. Cute. And after that, I think now we're on Celadon City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Celadon City is one thing that you will get here is an Eevee, and an Eevee can go with its evolution anywhere.
Yep, and you can get that Eevee. If I'm correct on this, is it inside the? Isn't the giant Pokemon shopping mall in here?
I think so.
Oh, yep, there it is. The Pokemon department store, which is also where you can get the stones to possibly evolve your Eevee.
That was the harshest thing to evolve your Eevee, because you only get one Eevee, and it's already a trek to get this far.
But then when you get it, you can only choose one of its 3 evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the biggest reminder that, like, yeah, some Pokemon evolve via stone. So, Pikachu and the Raichu needs a Thunderstone. Vulpix into Ninetales requires the Firestone. I'm trying to see what other Pokemon require a Water Stone to evolve.
Waterstone?
Because, like,
There's a few of them. Cloyster, I think, is one
is
of them.
Cloyster one of them?
I might be wrong on that.
Actually, I feel like you might be right on that.
Oh, sorry, I misread this. Eevee's name is also one of the few Pokemon whose names are a palindrome. It's written the same forward as backwards.
Yeah.
Get an Eevee, got an Eevee.
Okay.
I don't know if like Eevee has, I think, at this point only is it 8 evolutions?
Like, you mean right
Not all
now?
of them. I know. Right now, Eevee has, I think,
No.
12.
Right now it only has. Wait.
No, wait, not 12.
Right now it only has 8.
Right now it has 8. Okay, because it didn't have Fairy originally, because Fairy doesn't exist in Gen 1.
Yes, and then it got 2 more evolutions in Gen 4. It got 2 more evolutions in Gen 3. But as of where it currently stands right now in Kanto, there were only 3, which was Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon.
Water, Fire, and Jolteon. Yeah. Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon.
Yeah, and I was able to find other Kanto Pokemon that also require the Water Stone, which consists of Staryus, Shelters, and Poliwhirls. Yay!
Yeah, when Eevee showed up, Eevee only had 3, which is probably why when they released it as Yellow, why Gary would end up having having an Eevee. It's just easier to mix and match type. Which honestly, if you get your first Pokemon as an Eevee, you're pretty much rigged. Oh, do I need a fire Pokemon? Just better get me a Firestone. And it's the stone that does the evolution, not the leveling. So you know what?
Yeah, you can.
It's just right there for you to work with.
And you can just balance it out with whatever team may need. So since we're on the subject of Firestone, besides Flareon and Ninetales, it looks like Firestone is also how you get Arcanine from Growlithe.
Yep, Arcanine rules.
Yeah.
So, Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon. Which I don't know if everybody else did this. I always went against type. So, like, if my starter happens to be a like Charmander, I would evolve into Vaporeon.
Okay, so you would like to find the one to bounce it out.
And if it's a Bulbasaur, I would. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's just me. Although I tend to, unlike a lot of people, I didn't evolve my Eevee right away. I waited until almost the end of the game, and that's mostly because I really liked Eevee. Eevee was cute, and you only get the one.
Okay, honestly, I didn't really care much for Eevee when it came out. I really didn't. For me, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, I got you, and I could turn into whatever, and it's like, all right, I'll use it for this fight, and then I'll just kind of throw in my box because I don't care much for you.
Which is funny because the Evolutions, there's like tons and tons of cosplayers that cosplay the Evolutions all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a friend that cosplays a lot. What's it? The dark type one.
Umbreon.
Embryon, yeah. But I've seen Umbreon, I've seen Vaporeons, and I've seen Jolteons.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Eevee and Evolutions, like fantastic for cosplayers. Like just number one pick for a lot of people.
Also, that sounds like a sweet band name. Eevee and the Evolutions.
Like Gem and the Holograms.
Mm-hmm. They're truly outrageous. Truly, truly outrageous. Oh, Gem and the Holograms. You've got questions for these. But yeah, so this is where you get Eevee, and Eevee will go through the evolutions process. And once again, reminds you that you need friends to get as many stuff as you can, because that's the only way you're going to get all the evolutions. I don't know when it is, but there is a point either here or before that where I realize I just want to beat the game because I have no friends that will let me trade. Because I have no friends that have this game because I got Pokemon. I got the game Pokemon when I was a kid, and I never got it was an accessory. It was expensive. I could never find one or buy one. So I could either get the game or the cable. I couldn't get both. Game it is. All right, so I'm gonna pause that here, and we'll pick it up next time.
Yeah.
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 Gaming Theater Podcast is hosted, created, produced, and edited by Leo Garcia, the Geek Scorpio. Our music is A Drinking Game. Stock media provided by Stormwave Audio /Pond5. Our cover art is by Adam Parker. You can find him at ParkerGFX on Twitter. If you want to send us some financial support to help with producing things for Gaming Theater, you can do so at patreon.com/gamingtheaterpresents. It helps us out. Want to send support that doesn't hit your wallet? Please leave a review with wherever you hear your podcasts and share our podcast with your friends. It really helps out. Thank you for listening.